Hey girl, hey. Okay, so I started off this by actually praying, which I was like, oh, I guess I should have recorded that, but it's fine. We're going to end today's podcast with a prayer anyways. But before I start to record the podcast, I figured I would quickly just hop on here to say thank you so much for tuning in case you didn't listen to the podcast this week. I love that maybe you prefer to see the video, and have that more direct, you know, kind of connection of actually seeing me versus just listening. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Of course, I'm just already starting off with rambling. My name is Chellbee. I'm the writer behind Chellbee.com. I'm also the owner of Chellbee Christian Stationery, and I'm just a girl from around the way who is chasing after God and trying to not help because he don't need my help, right? And trying to grow his kingdom in any way that I can. And so today I am recording the second episode, or I'm really not sure what order these are going to be in, but I'm presuming this will be the second podcast of the Dare Bold Believer podcast. And I'm super duper excited, as you can already tell. I'm gonna have to turn the heater off so it's not super loud while I'm recording, but I'm in my comfy little Shein matching set and I'm excited and I'm ready. I got my notes, I got my verses up, I got my intro up, I got all the screens. I am ready. I'm ready. All right, I'm gonna hush and stop rambling with you guys, but I do like recording these videos because I feel like it's just kind of another opportunity for me to say, hey girl. So I hope you're doing well, if I did not already say that, and make sure you drop in the comments because I want to hear from you. How are you doing? How is everything going? Are you overwhelmed? Are you happy? Are you just full of peace right now? Like, how are you feeling? In one word, drop that in the comments for me. All right, as I already said, I'm gonna stop rambling. And let me find my little recorder button so I can start recording for the podcast. And yeah, I think I'm ready to go. Oh, y'all, I forgot I had the mouse on. I'm getting all confused. One of these days, I'm going to have to like move this setup around so y'all can actually see like what it looks like on my desk right now, because that probably would make a difference. But yeah, I probably could do that now actually. So let's grab this so you can see what's going on. So this is what I have going. So I have my two screens and I got my monitor, got my laptop, I got my microphone, and I have my Bible verses up, which you can't tell right now because I'm trying to get the voice recorder up, but I always have my Bible verses up, have my intros up, and that's like pretty much how I like to set up everything for the podcast. That's what's been working. I kind of only did one run through so far, so this being the second time, what I did the first time did work for me. So I'm just gonna stick with it. I have my phone up and I have my study Bible pulled up because I just wanted to kind of reference some things from Proverbs 31 before I got started. So I was reading that. And in case I want to just, read from it again, I got it all pulled up for myself. But yeah, I'm trying to be as organized as possible with this podcast. I want it to be like a casual conversation, but I also really, really want to make sure that it's more of an opportunity to share the word, like from the word, but still like being relatable, right? So that's why I have like, the Bible, my study Bible pulled up, because I really want to make sure that I'm sharing from the word as well. So yeah, that's kind of the setup, and I'm going to find this voice recorder so I can start recording the podcast. Now, hopefully the podcast one did like save and isn't going to be an issue, because I did kind of get a weird error looking thing when I recorded it. So I was a little concerned about that, but it seemed like it was playing fine, so I'm gonna go with it and just hope for the best. I actually need to delete some of the stuff off this computer really quickly from the sound, just so I can make sure I don't have any issues. Man. Yeah, see, I got all kind of stuff recorded on here, and that needs to come off. Just so it's... Oh, okay, I know why it's red. this computer is always trying to back up. I feel like all computers do that now. It's always trying to back up to the OneDrive, so that's why it's giving me like a big old red button, because because my OneDrive is full, which I don't even use it. So hey, there's also that, but whatevs. So I'm good. Just wanted to make sure that was good before I went into recording a full podcast, because that would have been very disappointing. But I'm good to go now, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit the button and let's get started. All right. Hey girl, hey, it's Chellbee. I am the owner and writer behind Chellbee.com and Chellbee Christian Stationery. I'm gonna actually start over because that was a botched intro. OMG. I was like, that doesn't make sense. But only I would think that, so it probably would have been fine, but it messed me up to say it in the wrong order. So I'm gonna start over. Hey girl, hey, it's Chellbee. I am the writer behind Chellbee.com. I am also the owner of Chellbee Christian Stationery. And today I am here to share with you your Monday Big Bold Cup of Christ. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dear Bold Believer podcast. Super excited to talk to you again. So go ahead, grab your cup of coffee, get your Bible. Let's get started. Today, we are going to be talking about Proverbs 31. And we're talking about Proverbs 31. And of course, we're talking about 10 to 31. Of course, that has to be the verse we're talking about. The woman who fears the Lord. So I'm not going to read the entirety of the verse today. I'm going to try to scale it down for the sake of time, because I know y'all are busy. And so I'm going to start off with verse 15. And it says, she rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arm strong. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. She puts her hand down to the distaff, and her hand holds the spindle. She opens her hands to the poor, and she reaches out her hands to the needy. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to pick back up. And I'm sorry, I am stopping at 20. So I read 15 to 20 verses in chapter 31. And I'm going to pick back up at what is like probably the most notable part of Proverbs 31, which is verse 30 to 31. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. There are so many things that can be said about Proverbs 31. And today I actually want to talk about just balancing as, women, whether you be, a working woman, whether you be a wife, a mom. Like, there is such a heavy, balancing act. I feel like that always happens for women, whether you're it doesn't matter what stage in life you're in. I feel like we are always balancing and juggling so much as women. I can think back to even just when I was in college, how, my schedule was always jam-packed. I was always doing so many things. I was working, I was interning, I was going to school, I was being a sister, I was being a friend, just being all the things always. And so I just feel like as women, that's kind of one of the things that we seem to always carry with us, is just the need to balance, because so many different people are depending on us, and then we're also depending on ourselves. And I feel like we have this tendency to hold ourselves to really high standards. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes it can be deteriorating, it can lead to our downfall. I know it did for me. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I feel like maybe where I'm gonna start is what I read in the ESV Study Bible, which I feel like I haven't heard this point said quite enough, honestly. And it mentions the fact that basically the Proverbs 31 woman, she is not meant to be let me say it exactly how they said it so that I don't butcher it. They said this profile is an ideal a particular example of a full-scale virtue and wisdom towards which the faithful are willing to be molded. So basically it's saying that the idea of being a Proverbs 31 woman is something that we should strive to, but the expectation is not that we're all these things, right? Because it's very difficult to be all of these things, and honestly the only way any of us can be all of these things is with God, right? God, Holy Spirit, Jesus, with their strength, then we can even attempt to be some of these things, right? Because that laundry list of amazing things that the Proverbs 31 woman is doing, I quite honestly don't think I will ever be all of those things, and that is okay. But the other part that it says in the Study Bible is that it's not expected that any woman will look exactly like this in every respect, which is exactly like what I needed to hear, honestly, when I was thinking about this verse. And it's something that I feel like people don't say enough about. You know, we talk about Proverbs 31 all the time. You hear about Proverbs 31 all the time. I feel like when I was first really starting to get into Bible study, that was like the cornerstone woman is what I always heard whenever I was looking up like information about womanhood from the Bible. I was always hearing about Proverbs 31 and how this is like the type of woman that you should strive to be with. But no one was having the dialogue to say like, hey, you know, no one's gonna be all of these things, because she quite literally is an ideal and not necessarily what one woman can strive to be. And there was another part in here where it says this lofty portrait of excellence sets such a high standard that it can be depressing to godly women today. Its purpose is understood. I'm sorry. Let me reread that. This lofty portrait of excellence sets such a high standard that it can be depressing to godly women today until its purpose is understood. And I just would love to hear more people speak to that. Speak about the fact that this is an ideal of excellence, but not necessarily something that we can achieve. You know, like it's not a sprint. It's not a race. Like, you know, it's a marathon. It's a lifetime thing. It's not a destination. I always tell myself, like spiritually as far as my journey is concerned, that this is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm not going to overnight be a perfect Christian, know everything in the Bible, know every story in the Bible. It's a journey. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow along the way. Things that I thought yesterday or months ago or years ago may not still be true once I learn more. And that's okay. And I think the same thing kind of rings true for the Proverbs 31 woman. Like, I'm going to learn about her. I'm going to grow. I'm going to, you know, there'll be areas in her life that I'll seek to mirror, but I may not ever be all the things that she was. And that's okay. That doesn't make me less. And so my main point that I just wanted to say today is, like, as women, I feel like we have this uncanny ability to just appear like we have it all together all the time. And I don't know if I set out for this podcast to be that place, but I would love for this to be the place where we don't have to put on, you know, like, I'm doing my best with this podcast. I really want to help y'all. I want to share the word. I want to encourage y'all, but I also want to be encouraged by knowing that this is helpful for you. But we can't do it all, you know, and that is okay. We can't always have it together. It's okay to break down. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to have low moments. And I just, as a sister, want to say to you, it's okay. It's all right. Sometimes you literally just need to hear that. And so I just wanted to take a minute to say that. I know that you're juggling it all. Lord knows I'm juggling the most sometimes. And, you know, trying to juggle having faith and making sure that I put my spiritual journey as a priority and not just something on the to-do list. Trying to make sure I prioritize my marriage, trying to take care of the kids, trying to take care of the house. You know, you got to work the job, trying to run a small business and have things that I enjoy doing that are for me. You know, the list goes on, and I know I'm not alone in that pursuit of just trying to enjoy life and at the same time doing what you have to do in order to provide to have that life that you enjoy, right? And I just feel like sometimes in the midst of all of that, if one little thing kind of gets in disarray, or one little extra thing gets put on you, one little new project at work, or one little change with the kids schedule, or one more activity at with the kids schedule, or one more event that your husband wants to host at the house, and it's just like, you know what, I'm about to fall apart, I'm about to lose my skin. Like, I feel like we all have those moments of where it's just like that one little thing can be the tipping point, the thing that throws you off of the edge. And what I really just want to make sure you know, that even if you have that one moment that knocks you over, throws you on your butt, you're not a bad person, you're not a bad mom, you're not a bad wife, you're not a bad Christian. You're just human. You're doing the best that you can with what you have. And sometimes we just don't have enough to do all of the things. And that's okay. I actually was reminded of, this is probably like the most embarrassing mom moment of my entire life. And I think I only told one person about this. So y'all, don't judge me. Anyways, so you may know, right? You may not know. I have 2 kiddos now, a little boy and a little girl. And my little girl, she's 4. And baby boy is about to be 2 soon. Nonetheless, shortly after he was born, he was probably a few months old. And Rosie was probably like 3. And she did something. I don't know what she did. She did something, trying to record this for YouTube, by the way, podcasters. So if you are ever in the mood for watching the video instead of listening on the podcast, no, you can always catch that on the YouTube channel. Anyways, so this embarrassing mom moment. Anyway, so Rose was about 3, and Kaden was just a baby, and she had lied about something. I don't know what it was. Whatever it was, she lied about it. And it was me, her, and her dad talking about it, and she was telling her little story, and I was like, she's lying, literally, like screaming. And my husband was looking at me like, have you lost your mind? And I, like, it didn't even matter, like, what was going on anymore. Just when he looked at me, I was like, I'm really screaming at my 3-year-old right now, saying that she's lying. Like, I have clearly lost my mind. Like, I'm about to cry. I must be losing my skin. And it was just, in that moment, I literally was like, I need to leave. Like, I told him, I was like, I need to leave. Like, I need a break. I have to get out of here for a little bit. He was like, go. Like, you clearly need to go. So I left, and y'all, I drove down the street to a different subdivision, and I parked my car, and I just cried. I just cried. And I'm sure it was probably the hormones, right? Because I just had the baby. But on top of that, I went to work like a month after I had Kaden. I had just launched the Chellbee Christian Stationery. I was back at work, already. And with that job, I was doing a lot of like early mornings, because we would have to do on call once a week. We typically worked like 9 to 5. No, actually, we typically worked 8 to 5. So some days I had to do 7 to 5 p.m. And then we had our sitter, and she was causing issues because she was calling out and everything else in between. And I really didn't want to send the kids to daycare, but that was another story for another day. I eventually wasn't going to have a choice. And it was just a lot. Like, it was just a lot. It was too much. And that job, I was also working the weekends sometimes. It was too much. I had this crazy work schedule. I got these 2 little babies. I'm trying to start a new business, and it was just too much. And just looking back on it, obviously, I don't think like she was really lying. Like, she's a little kid. A lot of times she has this tendency to not like really recall things correctly, which I think most kids do. And it's not a big, like, honestly, it's not a big deal. There's nothing that she does that's so dangerous or so concerning that like I should have been that upset, first of all. Second of all, it just reminded me that like, you need to get a break. Like, sometimes you have to like set those boundaries. Not even sometimes, like all the time. As a mom, as a wife, as a whatever you are, even if you're just a student, you need to set those boundaries for yourself to know when enough is enough. Like when you have too much on your plate and there's not another thing that you can take on. And sometimes that means leaving your job. And that's what I had to do. I had to leave that job. It wasn't working for me anymore. It was too much. It was too much with everything that I had going in life. And although it was hard, it was the best thing I could do for myself. I got a more normal schedule. I stopped having to work on call. I wasn't having to work, all these crazy hours, and then just still leaving work every day and not being done with work. Like literally always knowing that there was more things that I could be doing. That's frustrating, especially when you have things outside of work that you want to accomplish and do for yourself. So just kind of knowing or recognizing, taking those moments. It's about having that self-check with yourself. I know that might sound silly, but that is something I do. Like if I find myself getting angry easily or getting frustrated easily or just like being edgy or attitudinal, like I have this thing where I'll just be like, so what was that really about? Like literally, I ask myself, what was that really about? So why do you have an attitude? Like what is it that's causing you to feel this way? Because that's not normal. Like it's not normal to be so upset by one little thing. Is it really about the one thing, or is it about everything that's all happening together? Like what's the issue? And I think sometimes as women, because we look like we have it all together, people can pile on us, and they may not mean to, they're not trying to, but we have a lot of people depending on us, wanting stuff from us, wanting to spend time with us, and all of that takes energy from you. And as much as you want to be there, sometimes you have to make the decision to say no, and that's okay. Like it's okay. So say no sometimes. Put in some self-checks for yourself. If you're not into journaling, just having those moments of like recognizing when you're in a mood, when you're not feeling like your normal self, to say like, okay, why do I feel like this? Like, what is the thing that kind of has me off, like outside of my normal self? What's taking away from my peace, my joy? Like what is the thing? And maybe it's not a thing. Maybe it's something from the past that you're still holding on to. Pray about it. Ask God to take it from you, because believe me, he wants to. He wants to take it from you so that you can move forward, so you can live in the fullness of everything that he has for you. Because little did I don't know if y'all know this, but blessings means happiness. So that's what he really has in store for us, is he wants us to be happy. Quiet as it's kept. But the other part of that, of like the self-check, is really being able to say, hey, I need help. I can't do it all by myself. And that's one of the things that I took away from Proverbs 31 after I read it like 15 billion times. Is verse 15, where it says, this is the voice version. It says portions. I'm sorry. I'm not reading the voice version. I'm reading the ESV version, and it says she gives portions for her maidens. So she got maidens, y'all. She got help. She got maids. she has help. She's not doing all of the things, running the business, running the household, taking care of her husband, taking care of her kids, all by herself. She got help. So get you some help. Know when enough is enough. Recognize when you have just your pot, your bowl, your cup, whatever you want to call it. Recognize when it's overflowing and ask for help. It doesn't make you any less of a woman. It doesn't make you any less of a wife. It doesn't make you any less of a mother. We all need help, and it's okay. And it doesn't make you any less of an employee. All right, quiet quitting is a thing. Anyways, set those boundaries for yourself. Set those self-checks for yourself, and don't feel bad. Like you got this. You're gonna be okay. I promise you. Your sis is here for you. I got your back. I'm here to pray for you anytime you need it. I did want to leave off with a prayer today. So before I get too distracted, I am going to hop right into that prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the strength you have given us. Father, give us the courage to ask you for help. I ask that you grant my sisters the discernment and the wisdom to utilize the resources you have provided them. We thank you. We love you. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen. All right, you guys, this has been way longer than I intended, and I got to go back to work. But y'all know I love y'all. Much love, many blessings. I'm going to talk to y'all next time. Bye. All right. I feel like that went really good. Way longer than I intended. I really was hoping that these podcasts would be like 10 to 20 minutes. That was like my goal for each episode. But hey, it is what it is. I wanted to make sure that I shared share more regularly, like just transparency moments of just saying like, hey, you're not alone. It's not just you, because sometimes it feels really lonely, being a Christian. I feel like, I feel like that's kind of a space that I've been in a lot of times, being new as a Christian, of just loneliness. And I don't mean this in like a sad way or anything like that, but just feeling like you have to separate yourself. And then it's in instances even where you aren't trying to separate yourself, people will separate from you because they see the markings of God on your life. And sometimes that's scary for people who don't have their life together. They're either scared that you're going to judge them, or they're scared that, maybe y'all just aren't in alignment anymore. And sometimes it's a good thing for them to separate themselves from you, quiet as it's kept. And sometimes it's hard, but nonetheless, I know that this can be really lonely. And so I just like I need the space, I want to make sure that you have the space that you need to know that you got another friend out there who has your back, a bestie who has your back, loves you, and cares so much about you. And I really hope that you are asking for help. If you have not asked for help, please ask for help. It is okay to ask for help. I know it's hard. It's one of the biggest things I have trouble with as a mom, but as a mom and a wife, but you need it, and it's okay. And it doesn't matter if you're just in school and you just need somebody to go out to lunch with you for a little bit so you can forget about all the schoolwork, or if you're just working and you just need to go out with somebody so you can forget about all the work, or your crazy boss, or whatever it is. Like, sometimes the help is just having somebody that you can sit down and talk to and vent to. And if you don't really have somebody that you have a personal relationship with, I have found that it is so easy to find like groups that you can go out with and meet like-minded people. One of the things I used to do, I don't do as much of now, but I would go and look for like meetup groups, and I know they probably do like Facebook version of that, right? But I would usually find, I'm a woman of color, right? So I would usually find like natural hair groups. I can always find at least one girl in that natural hair group that I find is like a kindred spirit. So whatever it is that is, your hobby, something that you relate to, maybe you have natural hair, maybe there's a Bible study group you can join and you want to, find a Bible study group, whatever it is, we all have that thing. Maybe you were in a sorority, maybe there's a sorority group you can, go hang out with, whatever it is. Find something that you can find some commonality with and make some new friends so that you can get out and get you some more support if you don't feel like that's something you have right now. I don't know, you guys. I just know today is one of those days where I am super grateful to be sitting behind this camera and sitting behind this microphone. And I just know that even if this just blesses one person, that is huge. And so I just wanted to say all of the things, and now I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna go back to work because I need to get back from lunch. But I'm always thinking about you guys, always praying for you. Definitely don't forget there is a link for prayer requests on my website. So if you need prayer requests and you don't want to post all your stuff on social media, YouTube, I definitely understand. Feel free to drop in that link and put your prayer requests. I'll be more than happy to pray for you. But I'm going to go for real this time. And I'll see you guys next time. So stay safe. Be blessed. Bye.